All right, we can get rolling. I thought before we get going, I wanted to give a shout out to the fans. I thought the fan support tonight, it was awesome, and caused a couple of false starts and some use of timeouts. And so today, home field advantage helped the defense play better on third down. And so, own way, that was complimentary football. And but we felt that energy and support from the sideline. You could feel the energy that was brought. So that's the home field advantage that is such a big deal. But past that, I thought today complimentary football was on display. It's something that you guys know I've talked about a bunch, things that sometimes don't show up on the stat sheet. And the play that's coming to mind for me was a long run by Eckler, and who's finishing downfield is Olamide. Zacchaeus to recover and to go, because those are turning points in it. Defensively, to see some stops after some turnovers, I thought was a big deal. One was a field goal, and one was a stop where they punt. And when you get those chances to get a stop, to go get a score, things look a lot different in the game. So all that said, glad to open up to you guys, and it was just cool to be back home. I feel like we've been on the road for a long time, so to get back home and feel the energy of the home crowd, like, it was a blast.
I asked you this a couple of weeks ago, but he keeps doing it. When Jaden makes a play on the move and throws the ball 60 yards downfield or drops it in a bucket to Diami, what is the impact on that, on the defense?
Yes. Yeah, it can be demoralizing, because all of a sudden you're created some long yardage scenarios, just what I was referring to on the third downs. And so to have a big shot, to, even when the person's guarded well, to put it in the only spot it could go, the play that comes to mind before today was the one to Terry at the end of the Cincinnati game, where there was only really one spot that you could throw that pass. And he had a couple of those scenarios today. And I thought, quite honestly, it was a grimy start for the offense. It didn't go good. And I had told him inside, sometimes you learn as much from that start as you do from the 27 for 29, because different ways. But at the end, what I can tell you is, like, he processes quickly. And, all right, this is how they're going to go, then this is how we're going to go play. And so you learn from those as well. And I'd much prefer lessons and learning after winning, I can tell you that. But all of it's information, and he's such a remarkable competitor that he does learn.
Congrats on the win, Coach.
Thank you.
We talked about Frankie Louvu multiple times during the course of the year, but can you talk about him specifically in this game?
Yeah, he brings energy to our team and, like, unbelievable support. So his ability to create disruptive plays going forward, the physicality. And so last week was the kind of the catalyst, I thought, the forced fumble and the recovery of a big play to go. Today I felt more of his presence, honestly, going forward and rushing the passer to make some plays into that way. But he brings a lot to our team. It's the energy, the standards, the kind of the substance to him, and it's awesome to kind of have the yin to Bobby's yang. Like Bobby Wagner is as cool as you can get in just about every scenario, and then next to him is Frankie, who's wound up as wild and fun as you can get. So it's nice to have the balance of both of them, doing their thing.
And then we talked earlier in the week about the kind of group of number 2 receivers with Noah Brown out today. Can you talk about their impact on today's game?
Yeah, and we knew there'd be some spaces, and I thought Diami especially would have some chances to run through some ones to go. And I felt his speed, his energy down the field. So to score, at the end of the half and get on top of somebody and playing man-to-man, those are the times where you say you have to win in man-to-man. We thought that would be the case this week. They've been historically a good man-to-man team, and even on the comments, hey, no free access. So we worked hard on releasing and man-to-man. Didn't quite start like we wanted, I can tell you that. But as the game wore on, I felt like there were more chances for the guys to demonstrate that, and they did.
Hey, Coach. So I want to go back to the point you were making on the 57-yard run by Austin and just
Yes.
the role that Olamide played in that. Is that something that's just a testament to the type of teammate and player he is, or you all have been practicing that?
I would say there's probably a little bit of both there. We do show those plays about the finishing and can we go harder and longer. And so that started well back, Kenny, in like OTAs and training camp. And sometimes we even show those examples from around the league of what finishing can look like at the end of a play. And that may be the wide receiver trying to go block the middle field safety so they can, get the long one to go. On that particular play, there was another receiver downfield block. I don't know if it was Luke or Terry, but I can see it in my head, but I just don't know which player it was. But downfield and finishing, it really shows the support of the guys they're with. and how hard they want to play for one another. And that's the connection and extension we've been looking for.
And typically we've seen, Jaden and Zach Ertz have a connection, but today, a couple of misses here and there.
Yep.
Just immediately after the game, what did you see there?
Yeah, I thought we had a couple of chances, and just I think if you'd ask them, sometimes you miss them. When you nail them, it feels good, and when you miss them, it doesn't. So knowing the two of them, I'm sure they will want to be going tomorrow out, to work on extra things to go. But yeah, those two have a really strong connection. So when you miss them, they don't miss them very often.
Dan, back to the long pass to Terry. It's kind of a scramble drill situation.
Yes.
What does it show about his development that he didn't just tuck it, but he kept his eyes downfield?
Yeah, I think if you remember, that was one of the things early on we talked about. I'm not sure if it was in Tampa or the Giant game where we thought there were some plays to be made down the field as you remain a passer. And so one of the things that I really appreciate about Jaden is like his ability to learn and process quickly. And so on the first game, the narrative was too many runs and this. And so yeah, he knew that, but now that you're going into finding different ways to do that, when to get out of bounds, when to slide, when to remain a passer to take your shots. And now the defenders can no longer come up. You've got to stay back in coverage because now there's certainly a dual threat. So I just love the way that he's growing. He really puts the work in. That's why so many of the teammates, have such high regard for him.
It's been a long time since this franchise has been 4-1. What does it feel like you're building, and what possibilities are opening up here?
I can't regard, for the past, but what I can say is for the group that's here, we really felt the fan support today. And I thought there was a definite home field advantage created. Defensively, it was loud. It felt like energy, like all the things that you want. But more than anything, just seeing the team connected, playing for one another, using this complementary football. I kind of referenced earlier the turnover that went to a stop, the fumble that was recovered by the offense. I thought our special teams continued to cover, to run and hit. I mean, there was a fantastic hit by by Jeremy McNichols. That energy that gets created is a big deal. And so we're going to continue to try to lean on all three phases. My favorite part of our team is the team. And there's all sorts of ways that guys are trying to find an edge and, do it for one another.
Yes, just a little housekeeping. When Jaden came out in the fourth quarter, was he banged up at all, or was that just kind of you wanted to get him out of the
He was
game?
not banged up at all. Yep. So it was just a chance to give Marcus some chances. For him missing time on IR, we thought it was important for him to get in and get some reps. Yeah, and so we knew Jim's background, and disguising, playing man, being aggressive and blitzing. And so going into it, we really worked hard at that, Sal, to make sure that we had some answers for zero. And early on, it wasn't good, in terms of them getting some stops to go. We were anticipating them playing man-to-man to play it aggressive, and we worked hard this week to try to, win those opportunities. But I thought as the game wore on, that's when we got stronger at it, because early on, like you had predicted, Jim's got good disguise, good blitz package, and so I've got a lot of respect and regard for their players between, linebackers, rushers, the whole thing.
The secondary has been kind of much maligned, but particularly today, they see the past two games they've played pretty well. What have you seen out of Mikey Sanders still, and kind of his growth from week 1 in Tampa until today?
Yeah, I think for Mikey, for Brandon, for Johnny Newton, for Jaden, for Ben Sinnott, for Yankoff, and I'm probably leaving some rookies out, but there is some on-the-job training that goes with being a rookie, and that's okay. I knew that coming in, and I was going to stick right there with them, knowing that you have to go through the hard ones to go. What I didn't want to do was wait till November or December for them to start feeling it, like you got to live through the fights. I knew the competitors that they were, so it hurts when you're going through them, but I've done that before, and knowing that on the other side of that is success. But you do have to go through some of the struggles. That's where some of the growth comes from, and it's not comfortable, but I also knew what they were made of, to let up a early play to Jamar Chase in the early first part of the game a few weeks ago. Yeah, that sucks. It hurts. But guys like William Gay, hey, keep going, keep battling for it, and knowing that, we faced some really fantastic receivers over the first part of this season, and that's what our league is. Which each team, if we go back through it, yes, 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 and just to know they're ready to battle for it was significant. And I knew going in there would be some growing pains. That's just how it goes.
Speaking of the secondary, last week y'all obviously rotated the defensive backs. This week, stuck with the same group pretty much the entire night. Obviously, the results were pretty good. Was it just, hey, it's working, let's flow? Or
Correct.
How much of it is, what are the things you're considering as you make that decision, and why perhaps last
I
week?
think sometimes just you get a hot hand, you're in a flow, and things are going good. The communication's good. You want to stay into that space. We like to roll the big guys inside a lot, knowing that end of the half's coming, end of the games are coming. So I've always been one that moves the big guys. So I like a big, deep crew that can roll hard. But finding spaces that we're improving on, that was significant. And so that's why we didn't rotate as much into that spot. It had nothing to do player or any of that.
What is it about Mikey that allows him to play outsized despite the size that would have on paper say he can't play out there?
I think, like most good players, he has a very good understanding of himself, when to stay down, when to be off, using his own strengths, going in and out. So, maybe self-awareness is the right word, knowing when to match up, when to be off. And I thought Ben St. Juste also had a nice job of today.
Coach, you mentioned that the offensive start was kind of grimy. How important is it for your team to have that defense kind of support the offense when that start is so slow?
Yeah, I thought it was good. Our offensive practice Wednesday was kind of grimy. It was hard. We were just coming back from a long trip. It was humid out, and we were battling against one another, competition, offense against the defense. And I said it's days like this past Wednesday. We had an unusually humid day on Wednesday afternoon, and just we were going to go battle. We were going to, we had a third down competition, offense versus defense, right at the start of practice. But it was days like that led to days like today, where it doesn't always look great, and the look wasn't good. You don't start that way, but you just keep battling. You stay in the fight, and that's why I had a lot of regard for that. Knowing I pointed that out at practice on Wednesday. It wasn't our best practice of the year. It was hot, thick, a lot of battling, but those days are important as well because the guys take a lot of pride in getting one another ready to go.
Sorry if this was already asked, but you brought in guys like Frankie Luvu and Bobby Wagner to not just change the mindset of this team, but to more aggressiveness, things like that. To see that play out in a game like this, I know there's ways to go.
Yeah, I thought.
How gratifying is that, hey, this is why we did this, and this is the result we got.
Yeah, it's a good question, Ben, and one that you've probably heard me say, how do we feature the players best in all three phases? To say, how do we feature Eckler and covering kicks differently? We've got a good special teams unit, so can we put the ball in play to do that? Offensively, what are the concepts and the things that Jaden and the guys and the O-line can really do well? And I think that goes along, with Frankie. There's this really cool balance with him and Wags, of what they can do fantastic and how do we feature the players. And I think that's roles on a team. And that was a good sign for that tonight to see Frankie doing that.
All right, thanks, Coach.
All right, you guys have a great night.